Hello folks, welcome back to Canada's Boxing Channel. I hope everyone is doing well, having a good day. So, I figured it was time to upload another one of my historical retrospectives, this time looking back at the 10 top lightweights of all time. You will recall, if you like this kind of stuff and you've watched my previous videos, that I started off doing the top 10 heavyweights of all time. I actually broke that one down into 3 separate videos because I went into a great deal of detail. Then I went to light heavyweight, then middleweight, then welterweight. Now we're at lightweight. And I plan on doing all of the so-called original divisions. And then, God willing, we'll expand into, things like cruiser, super welter, and whatnot. As always, these are just the results that I got from the metrics that I used. If you think that your favorite lightweight fighter isn't represented here, it's probably because the metrics that you would use are different to the metrics that I used. Likewise, this is not a fantasy fight league. It doesn't mean that the number 1 on my list would beat the number 10 on my list, and it doesn't mean that your favorite lightweight fighter wouldn't beat everyone on this list. There's ample room for disagreement. Like I say, it depends entirely upon the metrics you use. If you want to know the metrics that I use, I invite you to go and visit my top 10 heavyweights of all time, episode 1, that breaks down how I allocate points scoring. Change the metrics, you get a different answer. And importantly, I'm not absolutely happy every time that I do one of these. I look and go, gee, I thought my guy should have done better, or I don't really kind of know that guy very well. How come he scored so high? It's all about the methodology you use in assessing the records of the fighters. So, with that being said, I invite you as always to leave your comments in the comment section below, and of course, I invite you to like, share, and subscribe. The channel has seen a nice bit of growth of late, and for that, I'm massively appreciative and really appreciate and respect the support that you all give to me and to this channel. We are collectively growing, which is wonderful. Okay, so without further ado, number 10 on my list is Carlos Ortiz. Now, Carlos Ortiz was active from 1955 to 1972, quite a long career span. And he was born on September the 9th, 1936, and he passed away on June the 13th, 2022. He has a record of 61 wins with 30 KOs, 7 losses, 1 draw, and 1 no contest. He held the world lightweight title from 1962 to 68, and he's generally considered to be one of Puerto Rico's greatest fighters. He had a trilogy with Ismael Laguina, and that was really, I guess, a career-defining rivalry. Many great boxers or great sports people are in part great because of their dance partner, if you like. Think Connors McEnroe, Seb Coe and Steve Ovett, Ali Frazier, of course, in the boxing arena. Carlos Ortiz also defeated Flash El Orde and Kenny Lane. Boxing historians say that Ortiz's really textbook boxing ability, his balance, and his ring control is what made him such a dominant force throughout the 1960s. So Carlos Ortiz is my number 10. Number 9 is a fellow who, I must confess, I was not expecting to make the cut, to be perfectly honest. But that really just shows my my level of ignorance, really. I'm very fond of fighters from the past, and I suppose consider myself a little bit of, a very, very amateur boxing historian. But this fighter did not, he was not really on my radar when I was plugging my numbers in. And that's Bo Jack. Shame on me. I should have known more about him. He was active from 1940 to 1955, so prior to my birth, but still. And his lifespan, he lived from April the 1st, 1921 until February the 9th, 2000. He had a record of 91 wins, 44 by KO, 24 losses, and 5 draws. He was a fan favorite during his boxing career, and he was a 2-time lightweight champion of the world. He had a series of wars at Madison Square Garden, including multiple bouts against Bob Montgomery and Ike Williams. His first fight with Montgomery in 1943 apparently drew absolutely massive crowds. It did end in a close decision loss. But in 1944, he reclaimed the title from Montgomery, and he apparently engaged in many thrilling fights throughout the 1940s. He had a whirlwind style, so boxing historians say, and he was a real crowd pleaser. And one of the metrics that I use is sort of, impact, right? Like, how well, basically, how well liked and how popular they were. It does actually count for some points. So he's number 9. Number 8 is somebody, of course, I know very well, and I was a little disappointed I couldn't get him to score higher, to be honest, but that's my biases, of course. And that's Julio Cesar Chavez, active from 1980 to 2005, and still with us, born on July the 12th, 1962. 107 victories, 86 KOs, 6 losses, 2 draws. He captured the WBC title in 1987. To me, that seems like yesterday, but I recognize that it's nigh on 40 years ago. He defeated Edwin Rosario, a devastating 11th round TKO, and that victory sort of really announced him, if you like, to the real broad world audience. He defeated Jose Luis Ramirez in 1988, and that became the unification. He had relentless pressure, an iron chin, and he was a body punching aficionado, and he was therefore a real force at lightweights before, of course, he moved up in weights. So, number 8, Julio Cesar Chavez. Now, I can get my notes organized here because I'll never be able to keep this in my memory. Number 7, Tony Caneroni. He was active from 1925 to 1939 in that sort of, golden age. Jack Dempsey was a heavyweight champion when he was started his career, right? He was born on November the 6th, 1908, and he died December the 9th, 1959. So he died quite young. 137 wins, 44 by KO, 24 losses, 10 draws. You will see in many of these historical fighters, the sheer number of fights they had. It's really quite something. Caneroni was a multi-weight champion, but he held the lightweight crown from 1930 to 33, and again from 35 to 36. He had wins over Kid Chocolate and Al Singer, and that showcased to many people and boxing historians who write about him, his all-round talent and aggressive style. He actually had a trilogy with Barney Ross, and though he lost 2 of those bouts, he was known for his ability to take on anyone, and he was a very dynamic fighter. So, number 7, Tony Caneroni. Number 6 is somebody who could easily be top 10 in any number of different weight categories. I may have actually included him in another weight category as well, but he absolutely deserves to be categorized here. And that's Henry Armstrong. Active from 1931 to 1945, born December the 12th, 1912, passed away October the 24th, 1988. 151 wins, 101 by KO, 21 losses and 9 draws. He held 3 world titles simultaneously: featherweight, lightweight, and welterweight. He was the champ at all 3 at the same time. You know, we talk now about fighters going up, right? Inoue, for example, or previously Manny Pacquiao or Oscar De La Hoya. Hank Armstrong was the champion at featherweight, lightweight, and welterweight at the same time. That's like, if you think about this, like that is really and truly something, isn't it? Armstrong's actual lightweight reign was short, but it was very dominant. He claimed the title in 1938 by defeating Lou Ambers. He lost it in the same year. It was a controversial rematch. Armstrong's pressure fighting and absolutely unmatched work rate simply overwhelmed opponents. It's a little bit like Harry Greb, if you like. He was truly a once-in-a-generation fighter. So I think Henry Armstrong deserves his place in not just in this list, but in lists that I've got him in at other weights as well. Now, number 5. Number 5 is a guy who I thought would be one higher, and then when I looked at the numbers, and that's Joe Gans. Now, Joe Gans was active from 1891 to 1909, so we're really going back into history. He was born November the 25th, 1874, passed away August the 10th, 1910. The record, of course, when you go back this far, is probably many more fights than I've recorded. But his record of 145 wins with 100 KOs, 10 losses, 16 draws, and 18 no decisions. He gets extra points in many respects for being a first. I have metrics which award certain things for firsts. And Joe Gans was the first African-American boxing champion. As we know, Jack Johnson was the first heavyweight champion, but Joe Gans was the first at any weight division to be of African-American heritage. He held the lightweight title from 1902 to 1908. He fought against a guy called Battling Nelson in 1906. 42-round battle in Goldfield, Nevada. 42 rounds. I mean, as the kids would say, do the math, right? That's 4 non-title fights that go the distance these days, plus an extra 2, right? He actually won the fight on a foul, apparently, but the bout was hailed for his stamina and his technical excellence. He also defeated top names like Frank Ern and Kid McFartland. He was a brilliant tactician and master of timing and placement. Little known fact, and one that endears me to him, is he was often cited as an influence on a certain later and incomparably great fighter, the one and only Sugar Ray Robinson. But just like Sugar Ray Robinson influenced Muhammad Ali, Joe Gans influenced the great Sugar Ray Robinson. So, number 5, Joe Gans. And now I think we're going to get into some controversial territory. Number 4, Ike Williams. Ike Williams was active from 1940 to 1955. He lived from August the 2nd, 1923 to September the 5th, 1994. 127 wins, 61 KOs, 24 losses, 5 draws. He was the lightweight champion from 1945 to 1951. He won the title in a brutal way against Juan Zorita, stopping him in 2 rounds. But his most memorable bout was his 1948 war against none other than Bo Jack, who we've already spoken about, at Madison Square Garden, which he won via a 6th round technical knockout. He defended the title against Bob Montgomery and Enrico Venturi. He was known for his punching power and his aggression. He was a pioneer, if you like, of a new style of offense, and he mixed speed with ferocity. He also fought in an era that was absolutely filled with top contenders. Now, number 3, who I think you could make a real argument for number 1, 2, and 3 to be the order to be messed up. So I'm saying if you take objection to this, then fine. I also can object to them. It's just that the metrics I use gave me these numbers. So number 3, Pernell Whitaker. Active from 1984 to 2001. He lived from January the 2nd, 1964 to July the 14th, 2019. 40 wins, 17 KOs, 4 losses, 1 draw, 1 no contest. He reigned as the WBC lightweight champion from 1989 to 1992, one of the greatest defensive fighters ever in my book and according to boxing historians. He was undisputed in 1990 after defeated Juan Nazario. Mispronounced that, I'm sorry. And he had a signature victory in 1989 when he avenged a loss to Jose Luis Ramirez. He also beat Greg Haugen to capture the IBF title. He had a slick, elusive style which made him a nightmare to hit. Kind of Floyd Mayweather Jr. in a way. He probably is best known for fighting at slightly heavier weights, like he had a draw with Julio Cesar Chavez. But at lightweight, his run was pretty much flawless. So he's rated number 3. Number 2, who most historians will actually say is number 1. My personal way of figuring this out puts him at number 2. And that's none other than the Hands of Stone himself, Roberto Duran. Active from 1968 to 2001. It's a shockingly long career, hey? And he was born June 16th, 1951. So Roberto Duran is still with us, of course. 103 wins, 70 knockouts, 16 losses. He's often considered the greatest lightweight of all time. He dominated the division in the 1970s. He held the WBA title from 72 to 79. He beat Ken Buchanan at Madison Square Garden. Duran stopped Buchanan. I remember I was really mad about this because, of course, this is within my lifespan, right? He stopped Buchanan in the 13th round with a finish that included a low blow, right? he began his sort of reign of terror, if you like, on that day. He defended the title multiple times against elite contenders like Esteban de Jesus, and he avenged that. He had avenged a defeat that he'd been handed. He'd actually avenged that twice. He had relentless aggression, power, and ring IQ. And of course, he fought at higher weights as well, including the famous no mas. But Roberto Duran, many people would rate him as the number one lightweight of all time. He comes in at number 2, according to the metrics I used. Number 1, and maybe I'm biased because I'm really a fan of this fighter. So, did I fudge the numbers? Well, not intentionally, but it worked out. Is none other than Benny Leonard. Active from 1911 to 1932, he lived from April 7th, 1896 until April the 18th, 1947. 89 wins, 70 KOs, 6 losses, 1 draw, 19 no contests. He was the dominant lightweight of the 1910s, 1920s. He held the title from 1917 to 1925. He was known for slick movement, counterpunching, and intelligence in the ring. He also defined an ethnic group. Many Jewish Americans, in fact, many Jewish people around the world, looked to Benny Leonard as being, representative of them as a religious group, as an ethnic group. He was he put to shame the argument that Jewish people couldn't fight, because Benny Leonard most certainly could. He beat Freddie Welsh in 1917, and he won that title via knockout in the 9th round. He defended his title against top names like Johnny Dundee and Lou Tendler. His 2 fights with Tendler, especially the first in 1922, were major boxing events. He retired as champion in 1932, but he did make a comeback during the Great Depression before he retired for good in 1932. Great fighter, in my book, well deserving of the top spot. An argument can be made, however, for Roberto Duran or for others as well. Pernell Whitaker, you could argue as well. So hopefully you've enjoyed this. I'm really interested to know who you would include in this list and then who you would take out. Because if there's only 10 seats at the table, you can't say, well, keep those 10 and add 2 more, because, people don't sit on each other's laps, right? Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed doing it. I enjoy working on these. Please like, share, and subscribe, like I said. Let's grow the channel some more, shall we? Thanks so much for watching, for listening. If you're out walking and you don't really actually have to watch, it's just a guy sitting in his chair. But, for listening, for watching, and for supporting the channel, I appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. Wherever you are in the world, have a fabulous day. Thank you.